Hiya folks, JD here, and today I just want to talk about the SJRC F11 Pro, my top 5 features of this particular quad. Now I've chosen the Pro over the F11 purely because I was a lot more successful with a lot more of the features on the Pro than I was the F11. If you haven't seen all of the F11 and the F11 Pro videos and you want to catch up with exactly at what point we're at, you can look in the description. You will find every single link in there. Okay, so there are so many different features of this particular quadcopter. A lot of people, including myself, see the majority of them as gimmicky. So I haven't really got a real world use, as I've said for years, for Follow Me. I don't really have a real world use for Active Track. I don't have a real world use for a lot of these features other than waypoints. I do use that. It's a good way of investigating a field, or if you want to investigate something like a point of interest and you want to do it autonomously. Obviously we're still having your eyes on the quad. And also I like FPV as well. I'm going to class that as a feature because, well, frankly, I think it is. So let's start off. So there are 5 features that I just want to talk about very briefly, give you a little excerpt of other videos from this particular F11 Pro video collection that we've done, and I just want to see exactly what your thoughts on them are. So the first one is Follow Me. So as I've said, I consider that to be quite gimmicky, but I know some of you do have a real world use. That's why I've included it in this. So Follow Me is quite literally the quadcopter that follows you. Now, generally for this to happen, you have to be within about 1 to 3, I think it's actually 3 to 10 meters of the quad for it to actively follow you. I did notice during the Follow Me demonstration that I did in the flight test of this particular quadcopter that it did actually end up going to about 14, 15 meters away from me, but still it had no problem in actually following me. I found the Follow Me on this particular quad to be quite weird, quite strange, as the quad, as soon as you initiate Follow Me, it turns at least 20 or 30 degrees in the opposite direction to where you're standing. So you've then got to move yourself into frame if you want to be recorded on the video. That being said, it worked with the Pro version. It didn't work so well with the F11 standard version. That's why I've included it on this particular video. Right, so that's Follow Me. Waypoints is next. I love waypoints. I really have a good use for them. I enjoy the video footage I get back from it. I enjoy the fact that for once the quadcopter can just follow the points that I set out for it, and it'll complete those points, usually with a couple of seconds of thinking before it eventually comes back to me. Now, the waypoints of this particular quad are very good. It's very quick. It didn't leave me with any sort of concerns. I was very happy with the overall movement of the quad, stability of the quad, and how accurate the waypoints were. I thought it worked very well. FPV, now as I said, I'm going to include that as a feature, as quite frankly it is a feature. It worked quite well. I had one issue when I went to 146 meters and the FPV relay back to my phone broke up. I let the quad hang in midair for a couple of seconds and it came back. In saying that, I have taken this quad to over 200 meters and I haven't seen that same issue. Now, it could have been atmospherics in the day. It could have been anything at all. It could have been where I was standing versus where the quadcopter was. It could have been the height of the quadcopter versus how, or basically just how low the quadcopter was. Maybe I should have increased her height slightly. Either way, I've only seen that issue once. It's on film. I think it's in one of the flight test videos that I did of this particular quad. Other than that, as I say, I've taken it to 200 meters. I haven't actually found there to be any issue with that. I found the FPV relay to be pretty good. It is unfortunately not 25 frames a second. It's more 23, 24, but still it does give you quite a nice fluid video output from there. Next is Active Track. Now, Active Track, I can see a little purpose for this, although it's not one that I actually use. That is where you draw a box over yourself and the quadcopter will just circle and follow you as long as you walk in a circle. It won't necessarily follow you like Follow Me. That's quite a strange sentence. So if you walk around a circle, the quadcopter will follow you in that circle. I found that to be, works pretty well. You just draw the box around yourself and then start walking around, and I haven't found there to be much of an issue with it. It just works. The few times I've tried it, it hasn't let me down. So I think all in all that it should be included in this. And the final on today's top 5 is RTH, otherwise known as Return to Home. Now, if you calibrate quite quickly like I do, you may find that your return to home isn't always very successful. I've, in the past couple of months, been quite slow when I calibrate my quads and had tried to have more of a steady hand to ensure that the coordinates that the quadcopter first calibrates rotates to are then quite accurate, so that when the quadcopter comes back, it's going to be as accurate as possible. Now, usually what I find is now and again, you're going to have a return to home hotspot of anywhere from half a foot to 4.5 to 5 foot out, maybe. Now, this one I found wasn't as on the button as the standard F11. I found the F11 return to home to be a little bit more accurate, but still the return to home function worked with this particular aircraft. There wasn't any problem. It didn't stutter or didn't, it didn't feel as if it was dangerous. It just did what it had to do. As soon as you initiate it, the quadcopter goes up to an altitude defined by you in the app, and then once it's at an altitude, it turns around and just comes back to you. In the bottom left hand corner as well, you'll see it return to home or returning. Wait, I can't remember which one. I think it does say return to home in the bottom left, so you know that you have enabled return to home. Now, the most annoying thing about this feature is that when you have return to home, now and again the return to home beep from the which is omitted from the transmitter, you may find that doesn't shut off, so you may have to click it a few times in order for it to shut off. I had to do that once out of the 3 return to homes that I have done with this quad to date. One of them worked without any problem. The second one was a little bit the beep happened after as well, so I had to press it a few times till the beep stopped, and then the third time it shut off as well automatically. I think the worst I've had with this particular quadcopter, the best I've had is about half a foot from the landing area, and the worst I've had is I think about 7 or 8 foot outside of the landing area. But still, it came back to within my reach. It wasn't as if it was 50 or 60 meters out. It was still very, very close. Alright then, folks, well, I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me know your top 5 quadcopter features. Thanks ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and ring that bell too. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy flying.